Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. As always, thanks for joining me. Also, hit the like, subscribe button down below and hit that little bell out beside the subscribe button. That way you don't miss any content from the Big Ranch Show. Now I want to talk about some heroes of Sunday's shooting. This video is not going to be about the people about anything about the shooter or anything on that nature, really. This is going to be about two people that I view as heroes that took it upon themselves to help when their fellow Americans and fellow Texans needed help. Now, both these men are going to tell you that they're not heroes. Neither one of them will say that they're a hero. They'll just say that they were doing what they had to do. And I commend them for being that humble. But as I see it, and I know a lot of other people are going to see it, these men are heroes and should be applauded for their actions. Their names are Johnnie Langendorff and Steve Willeford. Steve took it upon himself to engage the shooter. He heard the shots taking place across the street at the church. He grabbed his rifle, and he says a handful of ammunition, and put it in his magazine and headed and ran out the door. Now, he said he was scared to death to do what he did, and I completely understand. I mean, this man was running into what could have been, a very bad situation for him. This could have been the end of his life, just like those other people in the church. But he came up apparently, and he hid behind a truck. Kind of crouched down behind a truck, took cover. And Steve proceeded to engage the shooter, hitting the shooter at once, which caused him to drop his gun. And then the guy ran off to his car. During this time, a guy, Johnnie Langendorff, was driving by. He didn't know the people in the church. He didn't know the guy that was trying to chase down this gunman. But the guy, Steve Willeford, told him what was going on real quick, gave him a quick rundown, and they were off chasing this guy. Langendorff says they reached speeds of at least 95 miles an hour trying to keep up and catch up to the shooter. In the end, the shooter lost control of his car and took his own life with a gunshot wound to the head. But these two people, I've had people on social media telling me, "Oh, these people aren't heroes. The other guy, he just drove a truck. What makes him a hero?" Well, the guy had other guns in the vehicle. He could have easily turned around and shot both of those people in the truck that were chasing him. It could have easily ended entirely differently, where the guy ended up getting away from him. But these two men, they could have just stayed home. The guy that drove, Johnnie Langendorff could have driven by and been like, "Oh, I'm not doing that." Willeford could have done the same thing. These two men to me, are great Texans and great Americans. They stood up for their fellow people. And when the chips were down, they risked their lives to help save people. If you ask me, this is going above and beyond what any citizen is asked to do. But to me, they're heroes. Now, I know both of them will say they're not. Steve Willeford's even said that he is not a hero in an interview. That he was scared to death and he was just doing what had to be done, basically. But I am glad that there was a guy that was willing to put himself out there, willing to risk his life to try and save other lives. Now, we don't know what the guy was going to do when he left that church. He had already dropped his assault rifle in the church and was leaving with his pistol. In the car was another pistol. So it can be assumed that this guy could have possibly saved other lives, because the people the shooter was looking for were not in that church. They were not there like he thought they would be. But these two men, Johnnie Langendorff and Steve Willeford, should be looked at as heroes in my eyes. As I see it, they are heroes. If heroes ever existed, these are heroes. And I commend these two, and I have so much respect for them trying to do what they could to catch this bastard. I thank both of them for their actions and their bravery. Especially the guy who opened himself up to being shot by the perpetrator. So to Steve Willeford, Johnnie Langendorff, I thank you. Thank you for putting your lives on the line to try to help catch a man who had just murdered so many people. Anyhow, people, keep your prayers going for Sutherland Springs, Texas, and everyone involved there. And remember, 12 kids died in the shooting. We've got to do better. Anyhow, I'll be back with you with some more information on this later. I just wanted to highlight these two gentlemen who went above and beyond, risked their lives to try to save other lives, when they could have just sat back and done nothing. They could have seen the guy could have seen him coming out of the church and just said, "No, I'm staying home," but he didn't. The other guy in the truck could have driven off and been like, "No, I'm not doing it." But that's not what we do here in Texas. It's not what we do in the United States. When the chips are down, we show up. We do what we have to. And that's just how we do in America. That's how we do it in Texas. When the chips are down, we help our fellow Americans. Case closed. Y'all have a good day. Keep these two in your thoughts and prayers as well. And the entire city, or town, that is, of Sutherland Springs, Texas.